what's the problem if it affected 1,000 people to actually do something positive in it?
Screw utilitarianism.
What are you talking about, bro? Just ask your question. Tell me what's wrong with that.
What, if it affects 1,000 people to supply a million?
Today we're doing a debate on Kony 2012, which a lot of people have asked for. And we've got a guest here, Dami, who's a student and youth worker.
He's a student with a lot to say.
And then also over here we've got Sig.
I'm just an opinionated person.
What do you think is the real motive behind Kony 2012?
First off, when I saw the whole thing going on, first of all I was like, who is this Kony dude? And when I looked at it, I thought the PR and the marketing, absolute genius, like in that sense, wicked. So when I looked at it even more, I thought to myself, okay, what is this about? Simply because there's about 1,000,001 Joseph Konys running about the world, and I'm like, why are you now focusing on Uganda? Uganda has had its problems for the longest amount of time now. All of a sudden, you want to bring it to light. I'm kind of skeptical, but at the same time, I think in a good way, it kind of makes people focus on another part of the world that essentially we don't really focus on. We tend to kind of focus on what's going on in our immediate area.
I think the motivation behind the Invisible Children video is well-intentioned with a good heart at best. When you actually see the video and you see what the guy who made the video has seen, you know, you see bodies just strewn across, you go, right, I'm going to do anything I can to stop this. It's almost impossible for a person to see that and not do that.
I think maybe for him it might just be a lack of information, shall I say, because you did say that there's a whole bunch of Konys going on, but he may not know that. He might have just gone out, seen one situation and it's affected him in a certain way. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Obviously done into the one situation. I'd be surprised if he didn't know about.
My thing is this.
People are trying to come out of all different types of conspiracies. He shouldn't have said that, maybe he should have said it this way, and it's like, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm just saying that the other possibility is maybe he just threw it out there. Whether innocent people die or they don't, it's like he's trying to make an impact. All these conspiracies and shit, sometimes it just drives me a little bit crazy, to be honest.
So many pros and cons to the whole video, whether or not people are going out there to actually do research, whether or not they're sitting back and taking what this filmmaker has to say as gospel. There's probably more people trying to take the video by its word than there are people actually going out there to do their research.
The amount of research he has done into this entire situation isn't actually that extensive, because first of all, Kony's not in Uganda anymore. He hasn't been since 2006. They're talking about Kony as he's the ultimate embodiment of evil.
No one knows what the real motive is behind the Kony 2012 video. In 2006, oil was discovered in Uganda. 6 years after Kony is no longer reigning in Uganda, they decided that they want to put out a massive search for Kony, and has only now got, from 10,000 people who were in the LRA, has now only got 200 people in the LRA.
I'm saying, unless you're the person that's gone on that search yourself, you're still going by information. Whenever you're delivering information, you still got a point to get across. My point is this: people need to get away from thinking this is a simple this side or that side. It's a very complex fucking situation. You might need to mix some ideas together to get the answer.
That's the problem with the video. The video is concentrated to good guy, bad guy.
I think it's not as simple as good guy, bad guy, which is how it's been shown to us, and it's very easy for the majority of people to digest. There's only a very small part of the population that actually go out and question what they're told from both sides, do their own research and actually come up with some kind of opinion in the middle, because it's not that black and white. It's not just good and evil.
People need to stop taking this as a fucking black and white. It's not as simple as that. It's not like, oh, you're either for or against. That's not it for me. My thing is that, do you want to do good? And you need to find the best ways possible to try and do good.
The whole section at the beginning when he's talking to his son about who's the goodie and who's the baddie. The whole point of that is to make it as base and as simple for people to digest out there. My problem is that 9 out of 10 people don't question the information they're given. They don't go on to read about it. So it's from that point on, when they leave the video, it's like, oh, wait a minute, he's the bad guy, everyone else is the good guy. The only way to deal with it is get rid of him.
He's a human being, like, he's been about. He hasn't just sprung up from the ground and all of a sudden, boom.
21 years! Lala said he's a real person. Yeah, he's not a Bond villain. All of these people, Saddam, Bin Laden, Kony, whatever, they're all painted as these Bond villains. It's whitewashed with all this talk of he needs to be stopped. When they did that with the two aforementioned names, apparently Bin Laden's dead and Saddam Hussein was hung. But those wars are still raging. The problem isn't solved. So taking him out of the equation doesn't stop the corruption which is going on there.
You're right, this isn't a simple issue. It's very complex because it's a political issue. But what they're trying to advocate is that we then go in and pay the very bad militias like the Ugandan army who have been convicted of raping and looting, and it's not incorrect, they're gone by their own admission. So we flood in all these arms, we flood in all these soldiers, and most importantly of all, we flood in all this information about how to squash revolutions, about how to find people, how to hold power, and we give that all to South Sudan and Uganda, both of whom have extremely corrupt military regimes, and then we get Kony, and then we we leave? What happens to the people who still live there?
I am not on any side right now, like, so I'm trying to see the for and against, because the Invisible Children have released a document to kind of their response to every.
I read that document.
And they clearly state that they don't actually fund any Ugandan government. But the reason why it's such a difficult situation, because if you're trying to get someone in Uganda, you have to cooperate with the Ugandan government. That's the problem. If you're saying the Ugandan government are also disregard human rights and that, how do you go about negotiating? That's the problem for me. What's the answer?
No straight answer.
Is the video inherently evil, like they're saying he is? No, I don't think it is. I think they may have had good intentions, but that doesn't mean that the repercussions are a positive one.
I don't think the guy who made the video necessarily had an agenda. He might have had good in his heart when he did that. One thing he does suffer from is a very kind of American imperialist mentality of, you know, we can save the underprivileged people and it will all be hunky-dory because we are the all-powerful conquering nation that can go to a third world country and help, which I think is a little bit naive to think that it would be that simple. What you said about people taking the information and just literally running with what they see in the video, the problem in a situation like this is you've got that on both extremes. You've got the people who see the propaganda and go, yeah, evil, let's go and invade Uganda. But then on the flip side of that, you've got the skeptics who are just like, no, they go so far the other way without actually being given any information.
Watch out for these pseudo bunkers as well. And then what I mean by that is it's like a lot of people will tell you that this is wrong or this is good. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh man, it's a white man trying to save America. But I'm like, that's a knee-jerk reaction. That's just what you said based on what you've seen on that visual. You haven't gone to see if any of the information that's been provided is correct. Try and find as much information as you can before you try and jump side.
You get people that will watch the video and go, yeah, this is terrible. Send our troops into Uganda to kill this person even though he's not there anymore. On the reverse side of that is people that won't bother to actually do any research on the flip side of it, but they have this inherent skepticism that makes them just go, there's got to be something wrong, fuck that, it's evil, Illuminati, it's devil worshippers doing it. It's almost human nature to have that gang mentality.
I'm sorry, but I don't accept that argument. While these people have come up with their own information myself, the information that most of the skeptics are getting are actually from some of the world experts on the LRA and Ugandan affairs.
No, there's a small percentage of people who do go out and do that research. 90% of the people you see ranting on Twitter have done no research whatsoever.
All I wanted to be part of this to do is to implore people to question things, to always seek more information. The more information you have, the more balanced a view you can have. For me, the video didn't offer a balance. It gave information that's out of date, it gave information that served its agenda. What that agenda is, I'm not 100% on yet.
They want to be skeptical.
That is usually the reason for the success of the video. It plays into the hands of social network and activists. It gives those who don't actually want to put any effort in a part in. You can solve the issue.
A lot of people haven't done their research in the video and they think they're changing the world by sharing a video. It's not Slacktivism, it's clicktivism. People think they can become an activist on Facebook through one click. It doesn't work like that.
It says you can solve the issue. All you have to do is share the video. That doesn't solve a fucking issue.
With the people that are going to go and get information, you can find bits and pieces of people, good or bad. It just depends on what you try to find.
Because the more you find, the more well-founded your argument can be. If you just go on the video, it's poor. If you just go on the counter-argument, it's poor.
100% agree with what Stig was saying. It's such a complex problem that pressing the share button on YouTube is not going to solve. You might feel a bit better having doing it, and I think it is that whole culture of I'm going to do this because I'm going to feel better about this for the rest of my day, and I can sit here quite happily watching my TV and on my laptop, and I feel a bit better about the fact that I've shared that video.
What's the point in saying that all you have to do to solve this problem is share the video? It's not to say that by sharing a video you solve a problem, but is it better to share the video than not share the video? But that question then
That agenda they're trying to push.
Why is it that all of a sudden everybody's just found out about Uganda?
Everything can't happen every day. There's thousands, hundreds of people like him. It has to happen someday.
You can have 2 brain cells, you could be toothless, sat anywhere in the world and you go, good guy, bad guy. You can pick a team.
If you check my timeline and you check my Twitter, I'm about information. I like to give information at all costs, whether I agree with it, whether I don't, whether it's for, whether it's against. So for me, posting that video is like, what do you guys think? Let's talk about this shit.
Let's say they managed to catch Kony, they convict him. Are they then going to continue this project and go after other people who are doing that? You are definitely a fraud. If your only agenda is to get Kony, there are other people in the world suffering, and for you to set up this campaign and not do anything else, that would make your campaign a joke.
We're talking about this good guy, bad guy thing, yeah? If there's somebody out there, they don't know nothing about what's going on, they've seen the video and they've done information on this Kony guy, what are they going to find? Are they going to find good? Are they going to find
You can
bad?
find both. Depends on how extensive your research is. Depends on how much time you've got.
You can find positive or negative things about any situation because there's so much bullshit on the net. It completely depends on what you want to search.
It isn't about Kony. We all know Kony is a very bad person. And if you just go and do research on Kony or just turn out he's a bad person, the issue is about invisible children and the agenda that they're trying to push.
If invisible children can't get it right after 32 million views and however many years of campaigning against this, they can't find a solution to this problem, then what do you think that 32 million views are going to do?
Whether his method of going about things is right or wrong, he could be affected about it in such a way he feels like he needs to do something. Alright, cool, do you know what? I do videos, I know how to put my shit out there. Let me try and create something about this and see if I can create some awareness.
Out of $6 million spent 2.3
million.
Okay, I can only go on whatever, but these are official figures as far as I'm aware, but out of $6 million, 2.3 million have been spent on the actual issue, the rest have been spent on awareness. Now, what's left was spent on advertising campaigns. To me,
as far as the funding is concerned, apparently he had 8 mil to play with. I know they've done videos before and they've been an established charity, so whether that's donations or not, but
they already show the lack of consistency in the information that they got, because one person's saying that so and so got 6 million, then somebody else is saying, well, I read it was 8 million. So you go on the internet looking up information, but it's inconsistent already.
if you're dealing with $8 million, you've got a lot of power. You can have a lot at your disposal. Having those kind of things at your fingertips doesn't come without somebody above you being able to put a little nudge either way as to how your propaganda is marketed.
They're trying to run it like a charity, and that's the thing with charities. They spend their money really badly.
No, that's not true though. If you go to charities like Oxfam, Save the Children, most of the money to get spent out there.
Charities actually go bust because they don't know how to manage their money. So this is the hot charity of the moment. This time next year, it might be another cause and people might jump on that. Then it'll probably disappear.
you mention other charities, and I think they're accountable to a certain extent, because there's this whole saviour mentality of we can save them, us, them. It's not inherently a race thing, but often because of socio-economics around the world, it becomes one.
I say we put it to the test. If you really want to get Joseph Kony and also the hundreds of other Joseph Konys, hit them in the wallet, because there are hundreds of Joseph Konys and they all make their money from coltan. Coltan is a mineral that's mined in the Congo. These people force people to mine this mineral. It's used in chips, it's used in all the things used to make not just these, cameras, laptops, all of that. Stop companies from buying conflict coltan.
If I said this to you earlier off camera, if you give a homeless guy 50 grand, he can go buy a house, but that's no good. If you give him a job where he learns self-worth and he solves problems himself, all good, but the video doesn't offer that. There's a whole infrastructure needs to be built. I said the analogy of the homeless person. You need to empower people to help them help themselves, otherwise an issue just becomes distorted and corrupt. He turns around to the kid and he says, I will stop this at any cost. I won't let this happen anymore. He takes the power completely away from the kid and Uganda and Africa, and it's like, this is now our burden.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I've definitely looked at that side of the coin. But sometimes, not everything in life needs to be worked out, innit? Sometimes you can just be inspired by something and want to change. Sometimes that just happens. Everybody's kind of picking holes in some of the sentences that this guy said and the motive that this guy might have. But I'm like, sometimes as a human being, you get inspired by something, innit? He might have went somewhere, Uganda in this case, seen something that has affected him in a certain way.
As much as people want to be like it's a big conspiracy, America's going in there because there's every country has gone into Africa because there's just so much natural resources there. Everybody wants to rape it. There's just so many things going on. It's like, where do you start? What would be your solution? I think that's what Teeth is trying to get at.
Lady Marie has added us, asking us, do you think being part of a movement, Kony 2012, is more appealing to people than what they are actually fighting for?
Yeah.
Exactly as she said in the tweet, it's very similar to the riots. People feel that they're a part of something, and that's a great feeling to be a part of something. Something that from the outside looking in is doing something good, but whether or not that's actually doing something on a larger scale is another question.
The middle class white guilt of being able to sit around in Starbucks and talk about the travesty. No Starbucks, bro.
It's even more than that though. When you actually watch the video itself, it's a very emotive, very emotional video. A Hollywood designed video that's designed to get right in here. It's very, very difficult to watch that and say, you don't want to do anything. Don't get me wrong, something does need to be done. But as I keep on saying, the entire idea of a proxy war, that is why we're in this situation in the first place. People will die in the collateral damage.
I definitely agree with the thought of there being a repercussion. A lot of innocent people that are going to go out there, try and fight thing, and he's going to kill more people. Even the Americans or whatnot might end up killing innocent people. But then it's a catch-22. Do you, A, say, alright, cool, we're going to go out there and we're going to try and stop this guy, and then innocent people die? Or do you do nothing about it and innocent people die?
While I may not have a solution to the problem, I do know funding a proxy war is definitely not the solution, and I think people need to do their research into the base causes of why it has happened, nearly every academic who knows anything about Uganda or proxy wars, the Lord's Resistance Army, is actually saying while Kony is a bad person, the methods in which Invisible Children is trying to push are not the right things to do.
Let me just give people some figures, just to see what you think about this. Let's just say I did something to inspire 1 million people to share something that I did and I put it on YouTube, and 1 million people shared it. What's the problem if it affected 1,000 people to actually do something positive in it?
Screw utilitarianism.
What are you talking about, bro? Just ask your question. Just tell me what's wrong with that.
What, if it affects 1,000 people to inspire 1 million?
Dami is a fucking legend, mate.
It's a separate issue, so I'm not going to go down this whole tangent, but that's like saying religion saves a few 100,000 people, but it's also killed millions. So I'm not about to say you're wrong if you're religious, but the point I'm saying is, if you don't know all of the facts, or at least a lot of the facts about something, it isn't awareness.
You made me go and look at the facts though.
There's a very small minority of people that actually go out there and read.
But that's my point of what I just said, why I posed that question. Out of the 1 million, I'm part of the 1,000 that's been inspired to go and find some facts.
Oh wait, that's
So I'm
what
saying
it meant.
so
The problem is there, the rest of that million fall victim to propaganda. If there's an agenda behind that, you've got millions of people that are willing to back an agenda based on. They create propaganda to demonize a certain group of people, therefore giving the majority of people who don't think past what they see. Once you've got that, it's very easy to manipulate people to believe that you should invade a country, kill millions of people, and it's all being done in a good cause, and essentially thousands of millions of deaths could be viewed up as collateral damage. Meanwhile, if there is a higher agenda than that, they can go in and take what they want.
Those in charge want to stay in charge, they want power and they want money, so all I'm saying is there's an ulterior motive. Maybe not the video maker's ulterior motive, but it blew up overnight. That doesn't happen with just a dude who's got a few 100,000 followers. There's something pushing that.
Saddam Hussein, evil man, But the campaign that ran against Saddam brought awareness to a small amount of people that actually did some research and actually realised why he's done what he's done. But the rest of the people just went, yeah, we need to go and invade the military.
You're right. Invisible Children are advocating that the US military go in and intervene. That's always a difficult situation because if we're going by Americans' past history, we know what they like. They'll provide you a story using their propaganda and they will go in there for alternative issues. I'm scared of the American government treating this as a thing where they go into Africa to try and start some other shit. There's a million things that could come from this.
How much are the deaths of 1 to 2 million Africans a year really worth to you? If you actually care about the issue, you too will also support stopping conflict Coltan. How much are you willing to pay to get rid of not just Joseph Kony, but the hundreds of other Joseph Konys out there who are also worse and also still very active?
Now you can lie. The ball's started to roll. I think eventually we're going to get to the point where you can't lie.
No, do you know
this is the beginning of it.
Look how long we've been living as people and we still lie. It's going to get worse on the social network. Like,
who's that woman that sang for like, I would have bet, and we were, What? No.
There's a dog over there. Say hello. What? Go on. See it there? Waggling his tail right off.